Welcome to the Within Reach podcast, where we discuss things all on health, fitness, lifestyle, and mindset. I'm Steph.
I'm Roberta.
And I'm Maddie.
Let's get started.
The fact that we're already here again is wild. Like nearly winter already.
Oh, yes.
I am concerned with how quickly the year's going. And what we wanted to do today was take you through just some helpful tips on staying on track during winter, because a lot of people utilize this as a reason to fall off track and to not see progress and then to start again when it warms up.
Yeah, I do sometimes think your climate and your environment, no, I don't sometimes think it does play a massive impact on how you follow through and, yes, your motivation. But that's what we're going to talk about, is how not to let the season determine how on track you are with your goals and how you feel about your progress and what you're doing.
Yeah, well, the thing that I want to start off with is, like, I totally agree with what you said. Like, environment is a massive indicator, impact on how you feel. And like the winter blues are an actual thing. Like, I get it. Shorter days, colder days, a bit more miserable, especially in winter periods where it's like really wet and raining the whole time. Like, I understand this, but also there's two things that I want to say here. Number one, if you're somebody who has lived in a climate where winter comes around every year, you by now should have a good understanding as to how you feel in winter, what your habits are in winter, what your excuses are in winter. And so I would be going into this period thinking about what's happened in previous years around this time and what's held you back, and actually sitting down and identifying and picking up those patterns early, because that's going to help you plan for this winter, which we'll cover today. The other thing that I wanted to say as well is winter comes around once a year, and if you're going to let the season dictate your ability to stay on track, that means every winter you're going to allow yourself to fall off track with your progress. And we just need to seriously think about that, because we're in a position where if you do that and you don't find strategies around it, then you're going to struggle every single year, regardless of where you're at in your life, because you haven't learned how to stay on track when shit gets hard, I suppose.
Yeah, and we see these patterns a lot with our clients, especially when it comes into the colder months and people start getting a little bit quieter, people start making excuses a lot more and not following through on the things that they followed through on before. So when we start to notice these patterns, it's really good to firstly preempt them, like you said, so know what you're reflect on what usually goes wrong for you, so that way you can work around it. But also, as coaches, we can notice these patterns beforehand. So I do like to bring attention to it and focus on strategies that they can implement, so that way, it doesn't happen.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, as you said in the beginning, environment does play a massive role, but I don't think it's just environment in terms of like winter itself, but it's the environment of your peers, your co-workers, your family. It's like everyone just goes into this like negative lull as we hit winter, and it's like, like I'm tired, and they don't seem to have as strong of a mental capacity, and they start negotiating with themselves, and because such and such is getting lazy, now I'm going to get lazy, and it's just this domino effect. And I feel that if you know that you're somebody who really struggles with this, first of all, you need accountability at this time of year. And what I tend to see is this is the time of year where a lot of people decide that they are going to just lay low for a while and not get the support and help. But if you know that winter is one of the biggest times where you struggle to follow through, I would say this is the exact time of year that you need the help. Because the thing is that we need to remember as well, right, is like, let's say that we're, getting into the beginning of winter, you've got 2-3 months of winter left. So does that mean that you're not going to start working on your fitness goals again until September when it warms up? And then you're going to have to start from scratch then, versus getting the habits built now, getting the accountability now, getting the support now when you are actually needing them the most, because this is the time that you don't have that additional motivation because it's not warm and you're not going to the beach and you're not hanging out with your friends as much and all this stuff. It's going to set you up better for summer. It's going to set you up better for the time of year where you want to feel your best and look your best and all that sort of thing. And so I just think it's important to also recognize that like now is the time to keep working at things, not to give up. And that also goes for clients who are thinking about, I can't be bothered. I don't really know if this is for me right now. I might just cancel my coaching for a while or put it on pause or whatever. It's like, well, okay, but are you going to still have the same goals in 2 months' time? Because if that's the case, 8 weeks is not a long time. And if you're going to let the next 8 to 12 weeks dictate whether you're going to follow through with your goals or not, but if you really think about it, that come September, you're going to wish that you'd been consistent. Well, you should probably just stay consistent now.
Yeah, I just don't understand as well the idea of it's like an all or nothing
It
mentality, because why on earth would your goals not matter at a certain phase of the year? Although I do understand it's more challenging, it still doesn't make sense why you would entirely halt them, because, you know, you need that consistency for when you're going to follow through. If you can maintain an element of consistency in your toughest time of the year, do you know how much easier it's going to be when you're feeling good, when you're going out, when you're having a good time and you have more motivation? Like, it just feels so much of an easier transition.
Yeah, but the other thing is too, habits aren't, I'm going to start and stop.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's not a habit.
That's not a habit.
That's just a phase. Like, if you really want to build lifelong habits, if you really want to get to your goals, the whole purpose of having a habit is to maintain it forever. Or if you fall off track with the habit, you get straight back on and keep going, rather than going, oh, I'm just going to stop for a little while. I don't get the mentality either. And you are right. It is a bit like all or nothing. But I think it's important to recognize like what we can do to just make this period of time a little bit easier on you. And I know you've written a couple of strategies down, so I think let's go into those.
Yeah, because these are strategies where, again, this is stuff that you can preempt. You can reflect on where you usually go wrong and think about, hey, if this applies to me, I might actually implement it. So one strategy was to schedule your workouts earlier in the day, because obviously it gets darker earlier through the day. So going to the gym after work when it's 6 p.m, when it's pitch black, it's probably not, you know, as exciting as going in the morning and starting your day off right. So if that helps for you, I would go and do that.
And then on the flip side of that, I also want to kind of just take you through the other option, because I know, like, for myself, right, I'm somebody who I much prefer to train kind of midday or mid-morning than I do first thing in the morning. I've never really been someone who's loved training first thing in the morning, and I'm in a position where in winter I'm even less likely to do that, because it's cold, it's dark, it's wet, it's a bit blah. So it's arguably harder for some people to get up in the morning. But the thing is, like, if you know that that's you, going into winter, set the right expectations for yourself. So like if you're listening to Roberta and you're going, oh, yeah, but getting up in the morning is really hard. Okay, cool. So if you know that that's the case for you, have a think about what your routine looks like and when is the easiest part in the day. So maybe it is actually nighttime for you. You know, like if you know that you're struggling to get up in the morning, rather than having a fight with yourself every morning to try and get up and then feeling shit because you didn't get up and now you haven't planned for the gym, maybe going at night is better, because it's about looking at your strengths and weaknesses.
And also, like for the next strategy was, you know, with your training sessions, obviously we were talking about not entirely stopping, but having a think and being realistic about what you can manage during this time, because, you know, I'm talking about it like it's like some Great Depression, but but like just be realistic. If you know you're someone who's going to get the winter slumps and you just are not going to want to wake up early or go after work, like rather than skipping your sessions altogether, think about, you know, how much time am I spending in the gym? Is there a capacity for me to shorten the workout a little bit, so that way going to the gym doesn't feel so, oh, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, so instead of doing an hour session, do a 45-minute or a 30-minute session. Instead of doing 8 exercises, which you shouldn't be anyway, do like 4 or 5 exercises, which, by the way, guys, if you're doing your own training plans, 4 to 5 exercises is key. That's so good. It's not even shortening your training sessions. It could be, oh, I was going 4 days a week, now I'm going to drop it to 3, just so that I have that little bit more wiggle room on days that I don't feel motivated. It could be, oh, I know that during the week I have to get up early for work, I don't want to train at night, it's cold, it's wet, whatever excuses you tell yourself. And maybe look at, okay, well, I could probably sacrifice in winter training on the weekends, because that's 2 days I get back where I could go in the middle of the day, enjoy myself, whatever. But once again, like, these strategies come back to don't stop, keep going, but just tweak how you do things.
Yeah, and recognize that that's not you going backwards, that's you tweaking. And if anything, that's you being more preemptive and just more proactive about following through on your goals, rather than trying to push through full force when you just know you probably wouldn't.
No, because that's the thing. You're better off to do some than do none.
Yeah.
So you're actually better off.
Yeah. The next one is to keep your meals simple and staple. Now, I think this is, in my opinion, when I know things are going to be busy, when I know I'm in a season of my life where shit's like going crazy, the last thing I'm doing is like changing up my meal plans and like creating new recipes, which, you know, each to their own. Like my meals are pretty bland. So if you're wanting crazy meals, maybe this doesn't apply to you. But I think keep it simple, keep it basic, keep it to stuff you already know you're good at. So that way you don't, you know, it doesn't, you know, cause you to fall off track further.
No, I agree with that. And I also think like sacrifice is necessary here. So if you're somebody that wants to stay on track with your goals and is struggling with that motivation, maybe just feeling a little bit low, maybe it is a matter of, well, instead of having some crazy meals every day, I am going to sacrifice those and just have some basic stuff. And that way I can have the best of both worlds. I can fuel myself properly, but I can still follow through. The other thing that I really love to do, and I'm doing this at the moment, and I notice I do this probably this time of year every year, is I actually get meal prep meals delivered. So the thing is, right, like in winter especially, I noticed that in the past, I've decided to get more takeaway than usual, which is obviously costing money. And then on top of that, I'm doing my normal grocery shop. So my spend on eating out goes up. And that's for various reasons, but a lot of it is, like at 6 p.m., it's dark. It's all the excuses, right? We all have them. So what I've also found is like, getting meal prep delivered can be a little bit more on the pricey side, but not in comparison to the habit that I had, which was eating out a lot instead of cooking. So the other thing you can look at doing is like convenience. Can you do a meal prep delivery? Maybe it'll cost you an extra $40 or $50 a week. Maybe it won't, but if it does, is that going to balance out with the amount you would eat out anyway because you're not cooking? And that also takes the thought out of it. It stops you from having to worry about it. I swear by this. So helpful, especially at the moment, because like right now I'm also pregnant. Like I don't want to cook. I hate cooking. I just want my meal prep to rock up on a Tuesday and for me to just have it for the week and I'm done.
Yeah, it's a thing of convenience and figuring out if convenience is going to be the thing that stops you from following through, figure out a way that is going to feel more convenient.
Yeah, absolutely. We've also got ask for extra support during this time, which we've kind of touched on already, but really important because of the fact that once again, if you know this is the time of year that you struggle, it just makes sense that this is the time of year that you get the help versus deciding to sit in the pit that you're in and sitting here for 8 to 12 weeks and then coming out the other side and going, oh, I really wasted that time. I didn't get the help that I needed. And then not having any strategies to help you next year when you feel the same.
Yeah. And I think this comes into play even if you know what you're doing or you think you know what you're doing. It's just about having literally that extra support. It holds you accountable. It allows you to follow through. And it just, it has someone picking up on things that you may not have picked up on or giving you advice where you may not have even thought about it on your own.
Yeah, that's it. And like we say this full well knowing that we go through periods where we need coaches too, like if I am at a point where, not right now, but for obvious circumstances, but like once I have this baby, right, I already have in my head, because the baby's due in July, mid-July, I already have in my head that the step that I'm going to get or take not long after she's born is I'm going to get a coach straight away. Why is that? Well, we're still going to be in winter. We're still going to be in the coldest months of the year. I'm going to be completely out of routine. I'm going to want to focus on my health and fitness, but I'm going to be navigating mum life for the first time in the middle of a really cold season where I'm not going to be motivated. I'm going to be going off no sleep probably. And I value my health and fitness. So I already have in my head right now that at that point in time, once I have the baby, I'm going to get a coach. And I know I will because I've told myself that that's going to be the easiest way for me to move past any barriers I could face and get back into a groove rather than sitting in a slump, trying to do it myself, hoping for the best, and then just feeling shit because I'm not doing it. So you can see, like, even for me, I'm purposely going to go out of my way and get that because I know that I'm going to want that support. And I know that that's the time of year with everything going on in my world that I am most likely to fall off track. So rather than being in a position of like, oh, well, I'm actually going to do something about it. And I think that's really important too.
Yeah. The last one I had was, well, it touches on everything we've said, but it's just about reflection and genuinely asking yourself, where do you think you fall off first? Is it your training? Is it your nutrition? Is it your lifestyle habits? Is it your sleeping? Whatever it is, reflect on what happens in winter. Where do you usually fall off? And if you can't think of anything, like see how the first few weeks go and just like reflect on that and how you're feeling and what you're not feeling as good about or feeling as proud of. And then rather than trying to tackle all these things at once, just pick one avenue, make a small little adjustment and see how you go with it.
I agree with that. I think that's fantastic because it stops you from being in a position where you feel like you have to like overhaul everything at once. So hopefully these tips help you guys. I know that they're really practical, stuff that you can implement, but just be mindful as well. Your winter's only going to go the way that you want it to based on the effort that you put in. And I just want to reiterate, this doesn't have to be the time of the year where you stop or slow down or decide it's too hard. You just need to look at where are the gaps that I need to fill, and then utilize some time as we head into this season to fill those gaps and to get yourself into a position where you can confidently come out the other side and feel like you've been able to maintain the things that you seem important and the things that you really want to achieve. That way you don't come into, September, October and kind of go, oh, I've wasted half the year. So take these things on board, apply them. Remember that we're here if you need anything. And let's go into these winter months with a strong mindset to continue to follow through.